Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Sandy Smith, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. We warmly welcome the family of Sergeant Perrin Hamilton Blackham, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Sergeant Perrin Hamilton Blackham. Perrin Blackham was born on the 21st of August, 1889, in Parkside, South Australia, one of 7 children, and the eldest son born to engineer Richard Blackham and his wife Ada. Perrin received his education at the Fèvre Peninsula Public School and later went on to become a renowned sportsman and a member of the local cricket club. At the outbreak of the First World War in August 1914, he was working as a goods clerk for the Port Adelaide Railway Department. Perrin Blackham enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 20th of September 1915. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 27th Battalion and began a short period of training in Australia. He embarked for active service in March 1916, sailing from Adelaide on board the troopship Shropshire. After several weeks at sea, Private Blackham arrived in Egypt, where he continued training alongside other new recruits. After about a month, he embarked for the Western Front, travelling to the Franco-Belgian border, which had seen bitter fighting since 1914. In August 1916, he was taken on strength of the 27th Battalion and promoted to corporal. Having missed a bulk of the fighting around Pozières earlier that month, Private Blackham remained behind the lines with his unit, undertaking training and assisting in working parties. Blackham eventually became ill and was evacuated to hospital for treatment. Suffering from fever, he did not rejoin his unit until mid-September, just in time for the onset of a bitterly cold winter. He spent the weeks that followed in Belgium, where he was promoted to sergeant before returning to the Somme Valley in France. In early November, Sergeant Blackham took his part in his first and only major battle of the war, when his unit attacked enemy positions around the village of Fleur. The battlefields of the Somme had been badly affected by the onset of winter and heavy rain, which had left the ground muddy and waterlogged. When the troops advanced on the 5th of November, they floundered in the mud, making them easy targets for enemy snipers and machine guns. Blackham was wounded in the leg, but continued to push toward the German lines. Shortly after reaching his destination, he was hit by shrapnel, suffering devastating wounds to his neck, spine, and shoulders. Some comrades attempted to bandage his wounds before calling for stretcher bearers to evacuate him to medical help behind the lines. One of the men later recalled, "He spoke lightly of his wounds, but showed great concern for his men in the front line." Blackham was taken to the nearby dressing station, where he remained for 2 days. His condition declined until he succumbed to his wounds and died on the 7th of November, 1916. One of the men who brought him in from the battlefield later commented, "I only knew him for about 2 months, and it is some time since I saw him, but I remember the most outstanding nature of his character, generally more than his personal appearance. He had a frank and open expression, was nicely spoken, and I recall his friendly manner to all and his ready smile above everything else." Initially buried near where he fell, today Perrin Blackham's remains lie buried in the Dartmoor Cemetery, Becourt, beneath the inscription chosen by his family, "Perfect peace and loved ones far away." He was 27 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Perrin Hamilton Blackham, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.